Hey Glam Squad, welcome back. This is Cindy. So I've literally been trying to film for like an hour, but my neighborhood is so loud. I live near an Air Force base. Well, relatively, but they take a lot of like helicopters and jets from one Air Force base in San Diego to another Air Force base in like just a couple towns over. So a lot of air traffic noise. But here for a quick video. So you guys already know, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, that blush is one of my favorite makeup products. I love blushes and I love the way they look. So I often hear though people talk about how they'll put blush on but it's gone or it doesn't last all day. So I'm going to teach you a hack to keeping your blush on all day long. Now I will say these are going to take a couple of steps. I wouldn't recommend this for everyday wear, not because it looks great. It's not going to look like cakey or anything. It's just, it does take a little bit of time to do it, and you may not need to do this every day. But this is for something when you want your makeup to definitely like stay locked in place all day long, not budge. Special events and things like that where you know you're going to be gone all day and you don't want to be worried about it losing its intensity. So this is how you do it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to need to take a clean surface. So I actually wanted one of those like makeup thingies, but I didn't have one. So my friend Annabelle recommended the lid to the Bath and Body Works candles. So definitely recommend that as a hack if you don't have one. So what you're going to do at this point is take a cream or liquid blush. Now I have Flower blush bombs, and this is in the color Pinched. I also have some like stick, like a stick blush. So that's got also like that cream finish, cream style. So what you would do is you just want to get some onto a surface, so that way you can use your sponge, because the first thing we want to do is almost treat our blush like it's going to be an adhesive. So we're going to do a couple layers. So excuse my reach. Okay, so what we're going to do is with the blush on the tin, we're going to lightly dab our sponge into there. And then with the color on the sponge, we're going to apply it to the apples of our cheeks. Okay. So now as you can see, the color is definitely on there. It's just, you know what? It is really bright. Oh, okay. Sorry, I closed the blind because I realized it was creating a lot of light. It's overcast today, which actually makes it a lot brighter. So I closed the blind or you know, semi-closed the blind hopefully you can see it better now. But with that color on our cheek now, it's created a light blush color. Now, some people like their blush at this intensity. I like it to at least show up a little bit more, but not much more than this. So don't worry, you're not going to look like a clown. Okay, so the next step is to take your powder blush. I'm going to use the Milani Tea Rose powder blush. These are the ones that have a little flower imprinted on them. And then I'm going to take any powder brush. Now, I have this one that's kind of just like a simple shape. You can also use an angled brush. These are really nice for blushes, but honestly, either one. I mean, I just grabbed this one first. Honestly, that's why I'm using this one. Okay, so we're going to take some blush onto our brush, and then we're going to put it directly over that. And you're going to see right away that is going to look deep. Because your cheek is still almost wet. So now it's like almost acting like a paste. You know how when you get water and you know, flour or powder together, it creates like a paste. So that's almost what's happening here. Okay, now that you look like Bozo the Clown, what we're going to do is take a powder, any type of loose powder. I'm going to use the Maybelline Fit Me powder, and with the same blush brush, I'm going to lightly tap my blush my blush brush and put this over that blush. So what it's going to do is really lower the intensity almost to the point where it's gone. This is another layer to keeping your blush to stay. It's almost like creating layers of intensity. The powder is going to create another level of adhesiveness. It's almost like creating layers. The more layers you have on there, the more likely it is to stay because every layer has something to adhere to. So what we're going to do is just lightly powder that cheek with the same blush brush. And as you can see, it's really lowered the intensity. So you can definitely see that there's still blush on, but it's not, you know, Bozo the Clown on there. Okay, so this will probably, no, this for sure will stay on all day. This stuff ain't going anywhere. This sucker is locked in. The combination of the cream, powder, loose powder, and then we're going to just do another very, very light powder of blush. And I mean, I'm barely going to tap this and lightly sweep on just to put a little bit of that color back in. Now this sucker ain't going anywhere. It's going to stay on all day. It's not moving. It's not budging. Guaranteed it's locked. However, because I'm a little extra and blush is my favorite, I actually like my blush to have a little bit of shimmer to it. So what I usually do, and I do this step I do every day. So after I put on my powder blush, usually just with the blush brush, that one step, it's fine for, you know, all day. What I'll do is I'll take a highlight powder. So now I'm taking highlighter. Now I'm using Fenty Beauty's Killawatt Ginger Binge and Moscow Mule. Now normally these colors would be way too intense for me. Like, you know, for a highlight, it'd be just way too much. But as a over the blush highlight, it's perfect. So what I'm going to use is a blush brush. I don't even know if this is a blush brush. It actually might be a highlighter blush. It's really flimsy. It almost reminds me of like a brush you'd get like at a cheap store, like, you know, like at the Dollar Tree. That's kind of what you want. You don't actually want it to have too much you don't want it to have too much adhesiveness. Like, you don't want this brush to pick up too much product or apply too much. It would almost be like a bad blush brush because you don't really want it to do anything. You want it to just barely lightly get any product. And so this is the Morphe by Jaclyn Hill blush brush. So I'm not saying anything about the quality of her product, but this brush, I don't think it's made to lightly apply things. So as you can see, it's coming apart because I use this every day. But yeah, it's very, very light, and there's not a lot to it, and that's the kind of brush you want if you're going to do this step. So what I'm going to do is stab it into each of those colors, tap off the excess. So there's probably, actually I think the tapping of the excess took it off, but we're going to try it anyway. We're going to go in. Yeah, I don't even think it put any on, but that's okay. It's slight. It's super, super slight, which is what we want. So we're going to do that again and do it to the other cheek. And now there's almost like a highlight shimmery quality to your blush. Now, you may use a blush with shimmer in it. Like if you like the NARS Orgasm blush or actually any blush from that line, you'll see that they actually have shimmer in them already. So if you're using one of those blushes, this step would be unnecessary because that's going to have shimmer in it. And some blushes just have that as a component of the blush. In this case, we used a plain powder blush that had no highlight or shimmer to it. So me going in afterwards, I kind of like it doing it with this way because I can control the intensity. Like if I want this a lot more intense, I could add more highlight after this. You know, I could go ham. I could throw on some more right now. Maybe I will while I'm doing this. But I can control this. If you use a blush that already has it in there, you're going to have a little bit more of an issue. Now, let's say you've gone too far and you're like, I'm definitely looking like Bozo's extra cousin. Just do that same step again with the powder. So get a little bit of loose powder on your blush brush, and then you could see, lost that for a second. So as you can see, just take that and then wipe it away. And all it's going to do is, it's not really going to take away the color. I'm telling you, that color's locked in. It's really just going to lower the intensity of it so that it's not so stark. And that is it. And that is how you keep blush on all day. I'm not going to do a check-in just because I don't know, I'm not really good about check-ins, but if I can remember today to do a check-in, I will do one tonight. It is about, Alexa, what time is it?
It's 10:05 a.m.
So it's 10 in the morning. I will check in again, probably 10 tonight because that's probably what time I'll be getting home. But I will check in and let you guys know how this looks if I can. But yeah, this ain't going anywhere. It's going to stay locked in. Hey guys, so here is my 12-hour check-in. It is 10:36 p.m. I'm in my bathroom where the lighting is the brightest. And as you can see, my blush is completely intact. It hasn't faded at all. The only thing I feel like has faded a little bit is the shimmer that I put on top of the powder blush. That doesn't feel like it's showing through as much. I did powder down the center of my, I get really oily in the T-zone, so I did powder that down, but it did not touch, obviously, anything on the sides, obviously, because I was doing a wear test today, but as you can see, 12 hours later, and it's still perfectly intact, and it looks great, so hopefully this helps, and hopefully you guys do it. So for today's giveaway, I'm going to give you the perfect brush set for your blush. This is a powder, flat powder brush, and then a soft glow luminous sweep brush. So this would be the perfect set to complete that if you wanted to do both the powder blush and then also the created the highlight. So I use any highlighter. I have a couple of highlighters even that's more skin tone. I'll still do this with. I just really like this one because it's got a little bit of color in it. But I have plenty of other. You could use this with any highlighter. I love the Wet n Wild highlighters, so even those would be great. I have one that's a little bit dark for me. I still use it as a highlight, but it's definitely darker than my skin tone, so I'll use that a lot too. I think it's the Precious Petals. I love that color, but that also would look lovely here. So you could do this with pretty much any blush, any color. It'll work every time. Hopefully this brush set will help you to create a all-day lasting blush look. So if you want to be entered in the giveaway, like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below, and I will send this out to you. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one, guys.